Welcome again, another edition of Let's Talk Music, Richmond. As you know, Bill McGee and myself, we are on this crusade to try to find some of the musicians from the time of the 1970s and maybe 1960s and also 1980s. What happened prior to Trussell and Ujima, and what happened after Trussell and Ujima in the Richmond area?
But we've talked to a whole lot of people that know things, like I'm sure Alfred is going to help us understand some connections. Can you start off by telling me who you played with, like when you first started gigging in Richmond?
I'm a Richmond native. I started playing in bands when I was 14. Got with a guy across the street, and I was supposed to be the keyboard player, but I didn't have a portable keyboard, so I wound up on saxophone for a while and then switched to keys.
Now, what high school did you go to?
At that time, I was at Henrico High School, but we moved into the city. But the next year, I went to John Marshall. After a year or so at John Marshall, I got turned on to R&B, and you know that was right about when Soul Man came out, and right. Archie Bell and the Drells, and so on and so forth. So we added horns to the band, and we changed the name of the band to Soulful Sounds.
Were you in the band program at John Marshall?
I was in the orchestra program, and the last 2 years I was there, I had Joe Kennedy as my orchestra leader.
If Joe Kennedy taught you, you bona fide 100%. Your credibility is as high as anybody on this show. If Joe Kennedy was your teacher, and
I was his first chair oboe player.
Oh wow! Well, your credibility.
Oh, then you just went again.
He was very encouraging, and I loved playing under him. And it's a treasure to realize
he was traveling the world during that time in the summer playing jazz violin.
Yeah. And I got to see him play. He played with the Continentals at their annual show at Dogwood Dell.
Charles, that's one of the groups that we have not talked about. Bill Zickerfoos and the Continentals. We had not talked about that side of the music history, man, but they were killing at the time.
Yes, indeed.
They were the hottest show at Dogwood Dell.
So, Alfred, let me cut to the time when you and I met. You were saying that was at the Kozy Kat Club.
Yes, sir.
That would have been in 72. I had a band called ESP at the time. This is prior to the Ujima Brother Love genre. You sent me that MP3 of my band doing an introduction at Kozy Kat. Your band had opened up the show, and then we came on, and you were recording the program and caught a part of our introduction.
Yes.
So where'd you go to college, Alfred?
University of Richmond.
You are? Okay. So you stayed right here in town?
Stayed right in town the whole time.
Who was the music teacher over there? Or what was your major?
Well, I wound up majoring in English, but I was in the music program the whole time, and a fella named Jim Larkin had the instrumental program.
Right.
And my senior year, he started a stage band, and that turned out to be the summer that King's Dominion opened up, and they were taking auditions.
Wow.
So that group went and auditioned for King's Dominion and got hired and became the Kings of Swing.
Okay.
And as you know, they're still in business.
All right.
But that was in 74. I did not stay with that group because I had the band that played with Charles at Kozy Kat's. We were called Sebastian and Company, and we had finally gotten pretty good and had booked a bunch of weeks at in Virginia Beach that summer. So I said, no, I'm going to the beach.
Now, Bill, let me put this in perspective. Alfred plays with a band currently that Marshall Smith is the singer for.
All right.
And the name of that band is
Kozy Cats.
The Kozy Cats. Oh,
Yeah.
the Kozy Cats.
It's after the club. We rehearsed for about a year and couldn't agree on a name. And finally, Mike McNamara, our guitarist, said, well, let's call it the Kozy Cats because we like playing there so much. So we all agreed. That was the key.
Also in that band is Neal Bowen.
Neal plays with us. Yeah, he's our first call sax player. Just to mention Marshall real quick, he and I started working together, I think around 93. I had a band called Triple Scoop, and Marshall came in as our singer, and at the same time, Ernest Green came in as our drummer. Ernest Bigfoot Green.
Who are some of the other members of the earlier Sebastian group?
Oh, well, we had one of our key members was a sax man named Bill Goldner.
You had mentioned earlier your connection with Joe Carter and Tom Sievers.
Yeah, well, that was actually a good example of Bill cold calling a club. And, you know, I don't know if he saw an ad or just drove by the place, but he went in and talked to Joe and Tom and talked them into trying us out. I think we got paid, but, frankly, we were an all white band coming into a black club, and they gave us a shot, and we did well enough to get invited back.
That is good. So nowadays, the band that you're working with, you're playing what type of events?
We play a lot of events for people our age. We also play outdoor gigs. We did farmers market. We had a music festival here in Bellevue that was actually kind of born out of COVID, where we had musical acts up and down the street, and you could walk down the middle of the street and listen to bands without getting too close to anybody. So that was such a success that we had one in the spring and one in the fall. You know, you're talking about probably a half-mile square area, and they had about a dozen venues where people had made their front yards or their front porches available. And so they had a staggered schedule where you could go and hear an act and then walk somewhere else close by. You'd be doing a stage change. It was easy to get good guys on stage. We had Wilbert Anderson playing bass with us. I don't know if you know Wilbert, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Wilbert's a great bass player. Tell us some more about what you're doing now.
I'm actively retired. I guess you could say I worked for 26 years as an audio engineer and music composer for a company called Park Group. We did music for TV, documentaries, commercials. Now, in this phase, I'm doing a lot of work for my church. We've put in streaming systems and audio and so forth. So I'm kind of the go-to there.
For engineers, it's a lot of work out there like that, especially in churches, isn't it?
Yeah. And I've got the Kozy Cats and been pretty active subbing this fall. So
it's called retirement, where you don't have any free time.
Man, yeah. It's like I had a lot more free time when I was working.
We always ask everybody the question of, in your memory, what was the most significant thing, the music business, or whether your band, or what was the most memorable thing that comes to your mind? Maybe an opportunity for the band, a gig in particular, a person who played with you, a show that you did. What stands out to you where music really did something for you?
After I got out of college, I got with a band called Sandcastle. And Sandcastle worked like crazy. I was with them for 6 years, 75 to 81. Always a good band. Toward the end, the personnel was so strong. I was over on stage right playing keyboards, and I would watch those guys perform, and I couldn't imagine being a part of anything that was more dynamic. And I just kind of made a note of it while I was playing. I said, this is a big deal, that you're getting to do this for a living.
Right.
And when you asked me that, that's where my mind went.
Who we got on the telephone calling in? Who is that?
That's Neal Bowen in Richmond, Virginia.
But you don't have your camera. Why are you afraid to show people what you look like, Neal Bowen?
Wait a minute. Is that Neal Bowens?
Well, it's a Neal Bowen.
I know.
Okay, now we got somebody online right now that can verify your voice print to make sure it's actually you. Because I haven't seen you.
Oh, is that right?
Because I haven't seen you in years. This is Charles. Well, I ain't gonna tell you my name, but you better know who I am. So,
I know who you are. I know who you are, mentor.
and I've got here also Mr. Bill McGee from the legendary Trussell Band and managing, role managing for Climax and Elvis Champagne King, music director. His resume is so long, I don't know. I don't have time to go through that whole thing. But I've got.
I know, man. His resume is so extensive. I know.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Hey, Neal, why you don't turn your camera on, man?
I don't know how to.
You don't know how to turn your camera on.
Yeah, I just dialed this number.
You called in. You didn't click there on the link, huh?
Well, no, because I'm on my cell phone, so I couldn't do both.
You called in, but there was a link you could have clicked on that would have that would have put you on camera. But
well, nobody needs to see my ugly face, man.
We got to finish up.
Nobody needs to see my old ugly face, man. I'm just grateful to be here.
If the great Jose got on camera and August Moon got on camera,
and little Tommy got on camera.
Little Tommy got on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had Ray Smith. We've interviewed Ray Smith from the Jarmels. So you in high cotton here with these old heads, man.
And besides that deal, out of that long list of people he just gave you, you are still the baby in the bunch.
Oh yeah,
how about that? How about that?
We've got a keyboard player online right now that you might know something about.
Alfred Walker.
That's the man.
That's right.
I know quite a bit about that young man.
There's quite a bit you don't know.
Really?
He says quite a bit that you don't know. Well, he told us already about all the stuff that happened in the 60s. See, so
wow.
I mean, Alfred is a peer of Charles and I. See, all us 1960s babies, all us if you didn't finish high school in the 60s, you're a younger.
That's right. That's right.
I'm still a younger. What year did you graduate, Alfred?
1970.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, see, He's
right there. He's right there.
Yeah. I finished in '69, Alfred. I'm just talking.
So, Alfred, you finished John Marshall in 1970?
Yes, sir.
Neal, you and I go back several years prior to 1970.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Yeah. Do you recall exactly? Man. I mean, you said I was playing saxophone at the time, or who was going to the church in the West End? I can't even think of the name of the church.
Bethany Baptist Church.
Bethany Baptist.
That's
Reverend
right.
Austin. Reverend Austin.
That's right. That's right. You know, your sister Gail and I were married, right?
I didn't know that.
We were married there, man, in the Tom Thumb wedding.
They did the little young folks.
In the Tom Thumb wedding. Okay.
Yes, I was 9 and she was 8, so that makes her my first wife.
Oh, wow.
You know, my mom used to take us to that church, before we switched to Mount Tabor in Church Hill. But
yeah,
I recall meeting you, and you were I thought you were more like about 6 or 7 when we first met. I mean, 'cause you were young. You were young.
Yeah, I was younger than you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
And see, here's what happened. You started playing saxophone at Randolph's Elementary Junior High School, right?
Well, yeah, but nobody. I played it, but my dad did not get me one, so he made me play clarinet. So I played.
I knew he made you play something. He made you play something because that's what got me interested in playing music.
Because I had the saxophone; it was a school instrument. But Dad would not let me keep that. He bought me a clarinet and told me I needed to play the clarinet first. He insisted on that. But but I do recall showing off on the saxophone with you a couple of times.
That's right.
At the church and stuff. And so
that's right.
You really thought I could play, but I mean, I got a secret for you. I was just learning.
Well, you were playing to me, brother.
I was just learning.
You were playing to me, man. I was like, oh my God.
I said, all those sounds made by the saxophone are not really notes. It's called squeaking.
Well, look, man, to me, in my 9-year-old years, you were rocking. You were rocking. And I told my father I might want to try this, and he went on and bought me one, and the rest is history.
we need to wrap up a little bit with Alfred. He was telling us about Sandcastle when you came in.
Andrew Lewis Band.
Oh, Andrew Lewis Band, yeah.
They were a very good band.
Yeah, all of you guys were like the King of the Hill at the time. Did y'all ever play at the Chic at George Rafey's club?
Not in my time. We did play at George Rafey's club in Petersburg, the farmers market.
The farmers market, right?
Yeah.
You remember the Chic that was out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember the Chic.
I played at the Chic with the older band, Sebastian and Company.
Let me ask you, Neal, where did you, as if I did not know, where did you get your start in the music, in your interest in music, and then what were earlier bands that you played with initially?
The very first band I was in was a band called the Soul Sensations. Let me tell you, man, the original members were myself, Bebo Dabney, who was playing trumpet at the time, a young man named Peter Gray, who also played trumpet, who lived right next door to Bobby Kirksey, if you know him. And then there was Darrell Johnston on guitar. There was Mac McCrae on bass. And then we had Junie Brown on drums. A whole host of folks that just kind of came in and out, man, you know.
Where did y'all perform?
Man, we wound up playing at that time a lot for our teachers, backyard parties. I remember we did a pool party at Somerset Glen Apartments on Forest Hill Avenue.
Right.
Oh, we played at 10 West Lee. We played down there a lot because Mac's father, my father, and Junie Brown's mother, they were all members of Mocha Temple. You know, the Shrine.
Right.
And the Daughters of Isis and Eastern Stars and all that. So we played a lot for them, man, at the Mocha Temple on 2nd Street, and we played at 10 West Lee.
But to initially get started, they have been to knock on doors and beg.
That's right.
Play at the cookout. You got to play at your uncle's cookout or something, you know.
There you go. Yeah, that's what we were, a cookout band.
Cookout band.
Yeah. Did you know Reginald Hammond? Yeah, he was our keyboard player, and he and Melvin Glover actually kept the band going after I left.
Right. So later on, as time goes by, as you mature as a music performer, who are some of the groups that you worked with over the years thereafter?
Well, I'd like to say the first professional band I got was the Soul Twisters. You introduced me to them.
Okay.
Buck Branch and all those guys.
Right.
Yeah, Dwight Smith was playing saxophone then. He and I were the sax players. And next to him was Lamont Knight. Did you remember Lamont Knight from Armstrong?
Yes, I do.
He played trumpet. And then we had a guy we used to call Charlie Horse. I don't remember his real name, but he went to Armstrong too. He was our other trumpet player.
Yes, Charles Chambers. Yeah, Charles Chambers.
That's him. That's him. Say,
real
that's
tall,
him.
thin brother. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. And then we had what was my boy's name that played drums? I'm sure you remember him too. Talking about, man.
John
If I could call his
Banner.
name.
John Banner.
What is it?
John.
That's him.
John Banner.
That's
That's
him.
who it was.
That's him.
That would have been in 71, 72.
Okay.
I joined the Soul Twisters in '67, man. I was only 16. I wasn't even supposed to have been in the clubs.
Well, yeah, but Buck was playing guitar, so that would have actually been 69.
Yeah, Buck was playing guitar. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he just got back
playing
from
guitar.
Vietnam. Yeah. So it'd been 69.
Right.
Neal and Alfred, are any of the guys that you all played with back then still playing?
Oh. Well, going that far back, the only person I can think, well, I don't even think he's playing anymore now.
Alfred said they're playing with him.
Yeah.
Neal's one of them. Who was some of the other cats? Oh, that's right. You said Frizzell.
You
said
still got Marshall Smith, so
Frizzell, Marshall Smith.
Yeah, Marshall Smith. Yeah.
Our drummer's a fella named Kim Reuter, and he was our original drummer in the Soulful Sounds. He and I hooked up in '68.
Okay.
We played together till '74, and then he went off. And I'll tell you three names that Neal reminded me of. He mentioned one of them, Melvin Glover. He was at John Marshall with me. Another guy at JM was Moon Miller that played sax. I think he wound up with Chapter 7. Nat Lee was there at JM. He was playing clarinet in the orchestra. And Neal mentioned Bob Kirksey. Ulysses was there. And Ulysses, I heard him play sax in a nice R&B band. I think they were like the Gold Keys or somebody. I did play in a little classical ensemble with him that a fella named Walter Braxton put together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, Walter.
Yeah, Walter.
Charles, let me update you a little bit. I don't know if you knew Ulysses Kirksey, but Ulysses was an excellent cellist, excellent string man here from Richmond, and he ended up working with most of the symphonies around, but he ended up taking over the Petersburg Symphony after Dr. Gatlin passed. And Ulysses, I played with Peter, that's how I knew Ulysses, but he basically took over and kept that unit alive after Dr. Gatlin passed suddenly. Everybody loved, but Ulysses passed about 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah, he sure did. That's right.
Very sad here that Ulysses, he had been ill. I'm assuming it was cancer, but because he had been ill, he looked like he was suffering from chemo or something like that. But so we'll remember. Sadly, I didn't know that. To see that Alfred, that's why we're doing this. That's why Charles and I are doing this, because nobody, along with what you just told me, and I say I've known you, this is probably 35, 40 years, but nobody ever said you play sax in a band. You guys have kind of brought some clarity to an era. And Charles, what they're bringing clarity to is the late 60s, early 70s. Because that era when they kind of first started getting out there, as Alfred said, that was when he finished high school. What you all have done for us is you've really tied in a lot of the mid-60s, late 60s, early 70s. Right. Charles and I have had a lot of people, a plethora of folks who we talk from 73 on. But that era that you all are bridging, we appreciate you all tying this in. Neal, we're going to ask you a question that we had asked Alfred. What is the one event musically in your life that left an impression on you that is still with you to this day?
I think it might have been when I first got with Hugo Thompson's group, Standing Room Only.
All right.
And one of my first gigs with them, we opened for Levert at the Civic Center. I mean, at the not the Civic Center, the Conference Center. Because that was actually probably the biggest crowd I've ever played for. There were like 8,000 people there that night. I tell you what, I will say this, that's where I found my jazz roots.
Good. Let's come back to that. Alfred, let you finish telling us, you had started with Sandcastle when Charles asked you about that one event, and then Neal popped in. So let's let you finish that.
Yeah, I almost finished it. I just said that we had such a strong front line around 1980 that I recall times of being on stage.
In all of the group.
Yeah, stage right. I'm on the very end playing keyboard, so I'm looking across at the front line, and they were such strong performers and such good energy and worked so well together. And I felt like it's like I'm at a performance, but I'm getting paid. I got a good seat, and I'm part of it.
Right.
So,
who were some of the people?
Oh, well, we had a vocalist and percussionist named Roy Patterson, and near the end of the group, we had a bassist named Ramon Carter. The other two were Alan Brown, trumpet, and guitarist named Sonny Thompson out of Fredericksburg. So the three of them were fronting the band, and like I said, it was just kind of they were driving each other, and the energy was way up. And
how many keyboard players you have?
Just me. Alan doubled on some keys. We had a second rig, and he could pick up some slack on that, but it was mostly me with the Rhodes and the string machine and the mini Moog and the clavinet over here. So Charles knows how that worked. As I said to Charles, that came to mind when he first asked that question. Was that I think that's something I'll hold on to as long as I can remember things.
Wonderful.
What are some of the names of the bands that come to you from that time? Either you played with them, or you played on the job with them, or you saw them somewhere that you thought they had something going or had something special.
Well, of course, Truffle. Of course, Anglo-Saxon Brown. Stacey Henry.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The Bonnevilles, Lil Walter and the Bonnevilles.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the John Mills and the Dale Vikings?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Lil Tommy. Hold On Family. You remember a band called Devil's Workshop?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. And of course,
Starfire?
Starfire is the band that Jay Pryor and Ronnie Coates and Blood had with Rudy Lito and Willie McWhite.
Yeah, Willie McWhite.
All right.
Yeah, so those bands were the hot bands, man, back in those days.
Knowing some of the guys you played with over the years, and especially ones that have passed on, that's important. But knowing the names of these bands and all these different facilities, working at 10 West Lee. You remember those nightmare steps to get up to the second floor?
That's what I was just thinking about. That's what I was just thinking about.
That was a nightmare. Taking equipment up those steps. It was almost as bad as Gregor's Ballroom. Gregor's Ballroom on Hall Street. They got steps too. You cannot forget it. Once you've done it, you will not forget that. I really appreciate you being here as we take segments from each of the interviews and put together a presentation of Let's Talk Music Ritual. My partner in crime on this project is Mr. Bill McGee. He and we've talked about this for a long time. Joe Carter talked to me about it for a long time. I'm glad we had an opportunity to talk to both of you tonight. I appreciate you calling in, even though Neal don't want to show his face. I know.
Yeah, I'll show next time.
That's all right. Hey, God bless you guys, man. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming, Charles. Thank you, and be blessed.
Y'all too.
Take care, everybody. Have a good evening.
You too. Look forward to the next time.
All right.